Hey everyone, how you doing today? Welcome to my bedroom for a slightly different video as I am looking at one of my biggest reading challenges for 2023. I'm up here in my bedroom because this video is going to include over 40 books and I just did not have the energy and time to take them all downstairs to bring them all back up again. So we're just going to sit on my bedroom floor. I've pulled out all of the books and they're sat in front of me right now, and then I will put them back on the shelves at some point. I wanted to talk about one of the reading challenges that I'm doing every year, and obviously we have the Goodreads challenge. Do that every year. Next year I'll be moving more onto Storygraph than Goodreads. But that is a challenge that goes without saying. And I'm setting the same goal as I did this year, so that was 80 books. I may drop it to 75, don't know yet, but at the moment it's sat at 80 again. There's also the Beat the Backlist challenge that I've been doing every year, and with that you get like bingo cards and they're really, really fun. But that hasn't yet been announced, and I'm not sure if Austin Decker, who does this challenge, is even doing it next year. The one that I'm going to focus on in this video is the 52 in 52 challenge. This is one that is on Facebook, Storygraph, Goodreads, it's everywhere you look. And this is a really cool challenge where the idea is obviously 52 books in the year. And every year they come up with a bunch of prompts. They've never repeated the same prompt twice, apart from one this year that they've repeated. I was very fortunate. I've managed to secure books for 44 out of 52 of these prompts, but most of these that are left over I will have to actually buy books for. So what I'm just going to do now, I'm going to have the list in front of me and I've got my list of books, and I'm just going to very quickly, obviously we are not going to go through and talk about what every book is about because that would be ridiculous. So I'm literally just going to tell you what the prompt is, the book that I've chosen for it, and hopefully my computer's going to turn itself on at some point so I can actually see the list. Okay, after 5 minutes of me yelling at my tablet, we have the 52 Book Club's website, and let me just turn the brightness down a little bit. So got their website, and when you go on it onto the 2023, it just gives you all of the prompts and what to do, and then we have a lovely little visual just shows us the list of all of the prompts. And yeah, so I'm just going to go through all of them now. So first up we have book with a subtitle, and for this I've chosen The Forgotten and the Fantastical Volume 3, and the subtitle on this is Modern Fables and Recent Tales. So this is a collection of fairy tale retellings, and my friend is published in this book. 2 is a book that's featuring an inheritance. I went with This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. She inherits her, I think it's her grandma's house. Let me double check. Oh, it doesn't say what it is. It just says that she suddenly inherits an old house. That's obviously fulfilling that prompt. 3 is a title that starts with the letter G, and I've gone with Gideon the Ninth. Then it's letter H, so it goes G-H-I this year. Last year we had D-E-F. So for H, I've gone with Harley in the Sky by Akemi Dawn Brown. And then for I, we have The Innocent Mage by Karen Miller, that I know absolutely nothing about. 6 is a book that's under 200 pages, and for this one I have one that my dad gifted me to try, and that is Have a Heart by Gokul. So this is one of my dad's friends who's from India. This is self-published, and it's basically his childhood story about how his mum overcame a load of stuff to give him a better life. 7 is a country or city name in the title, and for this I've gone for Marauder. Oh no, it's the character! I made a mistake. Marauder's the character, Marauder is not the place. So I actually do not have a prompt for that one just yet, so I will have to put a thing in editing with if I find one of my ebooks or audiobooks that I haven't yet checked, but I will come back to you on that one. Next up is a dystopian fiction, and we have The Stranded by Sarah Daniels, who is another friend of mine who I got halfway through this and then never finished it, so I will go back and actually finish it. A book with a dedication is next, and for that one I've picked The Stars Never Rise by Rachel Vincent. It has a really sweet dedication when I had a look, and yeah, it seemed really cute. Number 10 takes place during the Roaring Twenties. I currently do not have a book for that. 11, a book about secrets. I've chosen The Lost City by Amanda Hocking because this is basically a whole load of secrets that get uncovered and she discovers that she may in fact be royalty. Then we have high fantasy, so I've gone with The Grimm Company by Luke Scull. I've been needing to get to this for the longest time, so it's about time I get off my ass and do it. 13, I don't have a prompt for, and that is a book that's been published posthumously. And I've got a couple of books in mind that I'm interested in. I just haven't bought any yet, so that one will have to be filled in when I'm doing the prompt. 14 is a survival story, and for that I have chosen The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid because it looks like this one is very much they get lost in the woods and have to survive, and she's betrayed and stuff, so she has to survive. 15, again, I don't have a book for. It's a book set in Australia. I don't have any books that are set in Australia. 18 is a book set during a war other than World War I or World War II. I thought this one was going to be quite easy, but it really wasn't. So I ended up going with the sort of guideline where it said that alternatively you can pick a fantasy war, and that is what I've done. So I've gone with These Above by Daniel Polanski, and this is basically all about war, conflict, rebellions, things like that, and it's a fantasy world. 16 is a book featuring one of the 7 deadly sins. My original thought was the series by Kerry Maniscalco, where it's Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, Kingdom of the Feared, because the main character is literally Wrath, who is one of the 7 deadly sins. However, I don't own them, and I did have a book that fit this prompt pretty well, which is The Wrath and the Dawn, because one of the guidelines says that you can pick one of the sins as a word in the title. So I've gone with that, and I've gone with The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Edier. Kind of got my order a little bit confused, so set during the war. Before that, there was also a book by a Caribbean author, which again, I thought I was going to be quite easy with the amount of books I own. I've already read all the books that I own that are written by Caribbean authors, so that's one that I'm going to have to look on my ebooks and my audiobooks, and if I don't have anything, then I need to buy. Then catching up, so we're now back in the correct order. We're at number 19, typographic cover, so a cover that features mostly font, or the focus of the cover is on font, and I've gone for this arc of Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry because all that's on the cover is font. 20 is a book about siblings, and I'm going with For the Throne by Hannah Witton, which is book 2 in the For the Wolf series. This one does follow 2 sisters. 21 is a second-hand book, and thankfully I shop quite a lot at charity shops, and I picked this one up, Shadows on the Moon by Zoe Marriott, and yeah, I picked this up at British Heart Foundation, and yeah, I was attracted to how pretty the cover is, and it also features assassins and shadowy stuff, so even more exciting. 22 is a body positive message, and for this I've gone with an ebook that just came to my head, which was Women Don't Owe You Pretty, and it is talking how being a woman doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be pleasing people all the time, and I think it does go into body imagery and like body expectations. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that it does go into that. 23 is an alliterative title, and I've gone with To Kill a Kingdom, and this one's going to be a reread. 24 is Nordic Noir. Now the prompt says specifically that this is a crime and police detective book that is set in Scandinavia. However, it does say that if you are struggling to find or don't want to read that genre, then you can just read another genre that is set in a Nordic country. And I've decided to be a little bit literal with this because noir in French is black. So I've gone with Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young because it is set in the Viking period, so it's Nordic, and the cover is black, so it's Nordic noir. So kind of cheating, being a bit cheeky with it, but hey, as it says in the rules, it's our challenge and for us to complete as we wish. 25 is a fashionable character, and I don't have the book currently on me, it's downstairs, but I've chosen Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim because the book features a competition around dressing the emperor, and it's all dressmaking and creating clothing, so there's going to be fashionable characters in there. 26 is Halves and Epilogue, and I have picked Graceling by Kristin Kishore because I did go through and it does have a 2-page epilogue, so it counts. Next up is one that I don't have a prompt for, and that is a Newbery Medal winner. I had never even heard of the Newbery Medal, and I'm not surprised because when I looked, it's an American children's literature award. I read through and I think in the past 30 years, I've only heard of about 3 or 4 of the books that were mentioned. So that one's going to be a challenge for me because it's going to be completely new. And yeah, I was like, oh, it couldn't have been an award I've heard of or authors that I've heard of. 28 is another one that I don't yet have a pick for, and that is a book that features a funeral. I thought there were 3 or 4 that I had written down that would feature funerals, and I thought there would be multiple ones that did, but none of them actually did that I saw, and I didn't want to sit and start reading. So I don't currently have something for that, but if in editing I have found something, I will put it up here. 29 sends you down a rabbit hole. Now this can be that the book has prompted you to go and research more around the subject or around a similar subject, or the literal falling down a rabbit hole, aka reading something to do with Alice in Wonderland or an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and I thought that'd be a perfect prompt for A Dream So Dark by L.L. McKinney, which is second in the Nightmareverse series and is an Alice in Wonderland retelling. 30, an author with the same name as you, and this can be your first, your middle, your last name. If you've had previous surnames, it can be one of those. And I am Kirsty Elizabeth Patrick. I was born Kirsty Louise King, so I had quite a few names that I could have chosen. So I was like, pretty sure that at least one book would come up with one of those words, and believe me, it was the sort of 3 books from the end, and I was about to lose hope when I realised Circus of Wonders by Elizabeth McNeil. So I was like, Elizabeth, that's my middle name. That's what I have chosen, and this is the Waterstones edition, and it is just so pretty and so shiny, and these end papers are gorgeous, and it's so pretty. 31 is set in a workplace, so I have gone for The Archived by V. Schwab and finally getting around to this one. And yeah, it's literally set around the main character who is stepping into a new role that was held by her grandfather, and after he passes she steps into the role, and the book is all about her doing this new job as a keeper. 32, this one was absolutely driving me insane, and that was to read a book published by Macmillan. And I was like, I have so many authors and so many publishers on my shelves, there's no way that this is going to be a difficult one. I had one book, and that was 3 Dark Crowns, that I had originally picked for the siblings trope, but I took it off and chose a different book so I could have this one for Macmillan. 33 is to read a banned book, and originally I picked Felix Ever After, but then I went back to my self-destruct books for next year, and I've instead gone with Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. This has been banned in multiple states in America because parents weren't happy with the homosexual content in it, and I know it did cause quite a bit of controversy when it came out, and even now it is still banned in numerous places, especially in Texas. 34 is a book featuring mythology, and I'm going to finish Daughter of Darkness by Catherine and Elizabeth Core. I'm finally going to get round to finishing. 35 is a book that you meant to read last year but didn't get round to. Obviously there were many books for me that I didn't get round to this year. However, Flashfire by TJ Klune, I started it around about October of 2021, and I just haven't finished it, but I absolutely adored the first book, so I've got no excuses for not having picked this one up yet. So I'm going to get off my arse and I'm going to do it. 36 again is one that I need to look into a bit more, and that is chapters that have cliffhangers. Obviously it's difficult to know if a book's going to have chapters with cliffhangers until you read it. My gut says Nalini Singh. Every time I read Nalini Singh, I always say, oh, at the end of this chapter I'm going to go to bed, and then it gets to the end of that chapter and I'm like, damn it, I really want to keep reading. So I'm just going to say that that's going to be one of the books that she releases next year. That's going to be the book that will fit that. 37 is a book that is written in the present tense, and I have gone with The Black Kids because, as it suggests, it is written in the present tense, and we are getting the story from first person, present tense perspective. 38 was an enemies to lovers plot, and honestly, I don't think it gets much more enemies to lovers than two people entering a tournament and one of them has entered it in order to kill the winner of the tournament but then falls in love with them. That is Songs of Wraiths and Ruin. Number 39 is a final book in a series, and I'm going with Queen of Vaults by Amanda Foody, which is currently downstairs waiting to be recorded for another video that I've got planned. And yeah, that's the final book in the Shadow Game series, and I have held off on reading this one for far too long because I am scared. Then it's number 40, which is written by a comedian, and I have chosen a book that the author isn't known as a comedian, but she is naturally hilarious, and that is the autobiography of Miriam Margolyes. She's just epic to me, and I can't wait to read this. I started reading it on my way home from when I picked it up, and I was just giggling, but I'm waiting to get the audiobook of it so I can listen to it. And yeah, she's not actually a comedian, but she is funny as heck, so that book's going to make me laugh. 41 I don't have a prompt for, and that is a character who is a refugee. 42 is a time in the title, so you can either have the word time or it can be something that references a time of day or anything like that. And I've gone for time in the title, and I've gone for twice in a lifetime. 43 is a book that everyone has read, so a book that I feel I am massively outdated on and that everyone seems to have read except me. And for this one I've gone for The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, because I do feel like everyone on my booktube circle has read this book, and it's like loads of people's all-time favourite authors and series, and I've just not gotten around to it, so I will finally hopefully get around to it next year. Next up is a book that is a contemporary setting. And for this I'm going with Felix Ever After, because I did pull it off the shelf for another prompt and ended up going with a different book, but I do really want to get to this one and prioritise it, and it's perfect because it's set in modern day New York. 45 is first word in the book starts with the, and I've gone with The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson because I really do want to get to this one. 46 is a script on the spine, so it had to look like it was either handwriting or some fancy cursive, but it had to be a font that looked like somebody had written it or could have written it. And I went for You Should See Me in a Crown because that does just look like somebody's handwriting on the spine. 47, I don't yet have a book because I need to have a look and scroll through, and that is a book set in Dublin, so now I need to find something. 48, I also don't have anything for because that is a book by Octavia E. Butler. I've never even heard of this author before, so I need to look in and see what sort of books she's written. And yeah, I've not seen this author, so I don't know. 49 is a book with books on the cover, and I've gone with The Last Spell Breather because it's a little book and it's such a cute little fox. He's so cute. Number 50 is a book relating to the word murder. So it could be that there was murder in the title, the book could be a murder mystery or a crime or anything like that, and I've gone with Assassin's Apprentice. Yes, yet again, it is appearing on a list that I'm planning on doing, but Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, because obviously assassins don't really get closer to murder than an assassin, do you? 51 is a book that doesn't fit any one of the 51 prompts. Now, they have recommended with this one that you leave it until the very end, because then, you know, it will just be any book that you pick clearly didn't fit the other prompts. But I have also picked one as a potential because so far I went through and it does not fit any other prompt, and that is Thorn by Intisar Kanani. This is also on my self-destruct books for next year, so, you know, it is one that I need to prioritise, and it doesn't fit any of the other prompts. And then the final prompt is a book that is released in 2023, and I have The Agency for Scandal. I have the ARC for this. It's due out in January, so I would have to read this either very, very early on, or I might end up reading it in December this year. However, I also have multiple ARCs up on NetGalley, and each one of those I do also have on NetGalley, and they're all due out at some point in 2023, so I'll get to those. That is the 40 whatever books out of 52 that I currently have ready for this challenge. Let me know in the comments if you are taking part in any yearly challenges. I have the 52 and 52. I have Beat the Bat List if it's going ahead this year, and then I have the usual Goodreads / Storygraph, just my own personal yearly target. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back tomorrow with the next of my Bookmas videos. I hope you're good, I hope you're staying safe, and I'll see you on the next one.